That's what I always say. Well, most drummers start, right? Cans and cushions, like play when you're a child and
your
play
furniture, yeah.
What's there, man? I mean, or you.
Or you.
It's the same.
Or your girlfriend's butt.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dave Lombardo. I'm here with Suicidal Tendencies. It starts for me in the mind. If I could sing it, if I could think in my mind, you know, of what I'm going to do, if I could envision it, I think then I will be able to play it. I think that's important for a lot of drummers. You know, it's like if you could picture yourself doing it, you know, then I think it's possible to do those rhythms. The reason I got faster was because, you know, you were touring a lot. I was touring. I was playing these songs every night. So when I played them every night, other rhythms became easy for me as well. But it's all because of constant touring and conditioning. And it's like a runner. I've always said that, you know, if you want to take up running, you're not going to be able to do, you know, a mile, you know, right away. You're going to have to build up to it, you know. And just like drumming, it wasn't overnight. This was months and months of touring and practicing. Practicing with the band is very important. A lot of drummers, you know, they practice in their own studio or rehearsal room, and yeah, that's great. But where I think you're measured is when you're on the road. You know, I think that's where it's important. It's changed. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, my first album I recorded when I was 18. You know, I'm 51 now. You learn how to be a more dynamic drummer. But also the music, the records that I recorded, like Show No Mercy, Haunting the Chapel, Hell Awaits, those were written for just drums that needed to be heavy. The drums needed to be heavy and played hard and fast on those records. I think that if another band came to me and said, Dave, you want to play like a different style? I would, and you would hear the difference because you have to adjust to the different style. Every solo that I do is not prepared. I improvise. I love improvising. I think that is one of my fortes. I discovered that capability, or I discovered that there were other people that were able to do that when I joined Fantomas. Because in Fantomas, Mike Patton introduced me to John Zorn. And John Zorn, saxophone and composer, we performed together. And I don't know, we connected musically on a different level than most musicians that rely on, you know, sheet music. You know, we were able to communicate without having any kind of structured music. And I quickly learned how to just, if I listen to a guitar player, if I hear a guitar player and he's performing something, and what I notice, like the first 2 or 3 notes, I'll pick up on those and I will have a drum beat for him. So when I'm improvising on stage with, you know, Zorn and Laswell, Bill Laswell, it's all spontaneous. I will hear something and I will carry it on from there. You know, it could be 1 note, 2 notes, just one bend on a bass note, or just 1 note on a saxophone, and then we all fall in together and we start creating and writing a piece by improvising. I played at UCLA. It's a university in in Los Angeles, Royce Hall. And I performed there in 2016 with John Zorn and Bill Laswell. And that was one of my most nervous shows I've ever played because it was improvised. And you just, it's exciting. Yeah, I don't like guys like that either. I walk into a room sometimes and people don't know who I am, and then I see their attitudes, and then when they find out who I am, then they drop their guard. Oh, Dave, how are you? But before that, they had all this ego. It's like, I don't deal with people like that. I don't bother with people like that. My dad always said, never think you're better than anyone else. You know, and I've held that, you know, throughout my life. I am first, you know, a human being like everybody else. You know, I just have a different job. And just because I have this job, it doesn't put me in a power to treat people different or to use people or anything like that. I don't like people like that, so I refuse to be one of them. Sometimes I could tell you that maybe I do get grumpy and you know, if I'm tired and I don't want to talk to anybody and I just go straight to my dressing room and fans are asking for photographs, and hey, I'm sorry, but I'm also human, and sometimes I just don't want to do things, you know. Or it's the construction worker that goes home and then the wife tells him, hey, can you help build the house? And it's like, I don't want to build the house, you know. But it's just, I like my fans. I'm happy in my job. I love my career. I love what I've done. I love that I've made people happy. I love that I've made people or helped people through tough times. You know, some drummers say, Dave, you know, your drumming, when I listen to your drumming, it takes me away and puts me in a different headspace, and it saved my life or something, you know. I hear that, and you know, it's special. So I'm not going to be arrogant or self-centered, you know. It doesn't work with me. No, well, several other drummers have done that particular project through this company, Scene 4. But I found it appealing because I love art as well. And I'm a big fan of going to different museums, and I enjoy doing that. And so being a part of this, I think it's just another extension of my creativity. And I was able to not only choose the photographs, but also change some of the, you know, the colors, the way the image, the contrast, and the way the images were emanating. I feel that, you know, I mean, I had a big part of that as well as the photographer. There's no boundaries. I feel that Fantomas, you know, was a band and music that had absolutely no, you know, boundaries or any kind of restrictions. You know, anything was possible. Anything was possible. Everything was possible because not only we had the capability you know, talent, the talent capability of the band was there, but also Patton, he really pushed a lot of the musicians in that band, as well as myself, to be better musicians. By learning that music, you know, I feel that it made me a better drummer. And yes, it is artistic, because again, you don't have any restrictions. You don't have anybody telling you, a teacher telling you, no, that's wrong. Yeah, so you don't have anybody telling you what to do, you know. Just like music, but one thing, with Fantomas, there was no genre. You know, the genre was a limit. You know, some metal musicians will say, you know, oh, you know, we do whatever we want. You know, sometimes I think even metal musicians, actually I've heard that a lot, you know, through my career. Oh, we don't want to change. We don't want to add a different drum beat because that sounds like funk, or that sounds too bluesy or something, you know, and there are restrictions, you know, where they think they're free to do whatever they want. They really aren't. So like Fantomas was definitely a band that made me, you know, think in a whole different way about music. I was fearless. I had no fear of going into other projects or anything, because I had experienced it all within that band. You know, even before I was interested in doing other styles, but again, well, like Grip Incorporated, I tried to add a little more different grooves, different drum beats, you know, more percussion, but still it was under the metal umbrella, you know, whereas Fantomas just, you know, that was everywhere. So what did I take? Again, I became fearless with my approaches to different bands, music, projects. I didn't care. Just go for it, you know. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. They don't like it, they don't like it. I had fun doing it, you know. For example, I was on a television show in the United States. There was a lot of people, oh, why is Lombardo playing that? That is so stupid. Why is he doing? It's like, really? I had an amazing experience on a national television station, and I got to play in the band, and it was a lot of fun. It was an amazing experience, and I walked out of there more knowledgeable about not only music but the way television works. That you can't pay for that education. That experience that I had, you can't pay for it. Nobody could teach that to you. You have to go in there fearless, and you have to go blind and say, okay, tell me what you want to do. How do you do this? And then they tell you, bam, bam, this is what we do. We write the songs at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We write the music, and we perform it at 7. And so you learn a lot. And that's why it's important, man. You know, you can't bound yourself by only one genre, bound yourself by one style, or I want to be like this drummer. No, why don't you become all of those drummers, and then you start becoming your individual person. You know, that's what I did. I didn't just say I wanted to be like one drummer. I loved many different drummers, and then I became who I was because of my passion for not only the music that they were playing, but the music I was playing. And what I was playing was like punk, you know, metal punk at that time, or punk metal. For me, when I was growing up, and back in '83, I was 18 years old, releasing Show No Mercy. We were the scene. When we showed up at a venue, there were fans, there were shows. So I don't think it's really changed much, you know, except maybe there's a lot of different, there's many different varieties, where back then metal was, there was only one kind in a way, you know, it was like thrash and like Judas Priest heavy metal and Iron Maiden, you know. It was Motorhead, you know, which they were rock and roll, but they were still loud, you know. So yeah, I mean, I remember in the 90s, I mean, there were bands like Korn, and you know, that came out, and then a lot of bands started sounding like Korn, you know, and then metal kind of went underground. But then again, during that period, I was hungry for something new. I found industrial music, like, you know, I discovered industrial music in the early 90s, and I fell in love with bands like Ministry, bands like Nine Inch Nails, Killing Joke, yeah, Pandemonium. I remember Pandemonium. Remember that album? I love that album. That was a great album. And so I go through changes and cycles too, you know. I listen to different music at different times. I think that music, you know, has to continue to evolve. Once the music doesn't evolve, once a band like stays in their own place, I feel that, you know, sometimes that could get, you know, a little monotonous, you know. So the band has to learn how to try to recreate itself and grow musically. I think a classic example, not only Suicidal Tendencies, but with the Misfits as well, I had to listen to the old records. I had to listen to the songs. And again, you have to listen very closely to what the song is saying and what the mix and the recording was, you know. The spirit, you gotta sense or feel the spirit of the song. You try to emulate that, you know. You try to pay respect to the original recordings and not add more. What you want to add is just life, new life into that music. Like I said, the Misfits music, you know, was recorded in the late 70s, and that was, I fell in love with that music. It's phenomenal. And there's a lot of new songs with Suicidal that I never heard before that I really love too. I think I could, not only just in punk or metal or thrash, I feel that if I was put in a totally different band, totally different genre, style, I feel I would be able to adapt, you know, well. Because again, it starts with the music and what you're listening to on the record. But I mean, I've noticed there were drummers, you know, that I've seen that, you know, and these songs are classic songs, and the drummers don't pay respect to those rhythms or the style or anything. You know, they just play whatever they want, and it's just, you know, it's not good. Yeah, and sometimes when they listen to the record, they don't understand what the drum beat is. You know, like usually the record is eighth notes on the hi-hat, you know, like on a punk beat, you know, you do a beat like that. But some drummers do this, and that's not the feel. You want to drive that hi-hat. You know, the hi-hat is very important, especially in punk and thrash music. You know, I think that gives it, you know, some of the energy, you know, that is required to boost a song up like that. shit.
You play shit?
No, shit. I'm trying to think. I like funk music. I like blues. I love like many different genres, and who in particular? I mean, something weird is like Budo's Band, which is a just slow groove, kind of groovy funk music with horns, and you know. But then I'll listen to James Brown, or I'll listen to straight up ghetto hip hop. I love that. It's very inspiring, especially when I speed it up, you know. And jungle, you know, like drum and bass. I love that stuff too. Anything that's fast. Well, blues and funk isn't, but I like all styles of music. I listen to everything, you know, almost everything. Oh, what do I play?
Probably the same.
Probably the same, yeah. I'll warm up to like a funky groove, like some kind of trancey kind of rhythm. It's a variety of things. Yeah, this is Dave Lombardo signing off. Take care, and auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye. I think that's it. All right, man, take care. You're welcome.
Hi there, this is Philip speaking. I'm the host of Drum Talk. And first of all, I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope you liked it. It's season 7 already, but it's not only season 7, it's also the 5th anniversary of Drum Talk. And a lot of things have changed over the years, as you may have realized. But there's one thing that is still consistent, which is it's basically just me doing all the things with some helping hands here and there. So I figured maybe there are some folks out there that like my program so much they want to maybe support the channel a little bit, which helps indeed, because I don't have any sponsor or anything whatsoever. Everything I have to pay out of my own pocket. So if you like it a lot or just a bit and you feel like giving me a little bit of support, there will be a Patreon page up soon, and I will post the links. And if you feel like it, you can support me there. Anything is cool. So again, thanks for watching and take care. Bye.